Here are the top 20% of the things you can do that brings 80% of the results when it comes to working hard. Point number one is to get in the zone. I used to be obsessed with like habits, with routines, with meditation, cold shower, and going to the gym and doing specific kind of hypnosis meditation to work hard in the morning. What working hard comes down to, it's to like where you make the most amount of progress is in the zone, and how often you can get in that zone. That's working hard. That's how you work. That's the one single thing that makes you a hard worker. It's to get in the zone again and again and again for hours a day. It's not the routines, it's not anything else. It's just your ability to be in the zone. So what do I mean by the zone? The zone is a flow state. It's like a state of mind where you're completely present and you just forget about everything else that is going on and you focus on one thing. That is it. That's flow. That's getting in the zone. And that's where you make tremendous amount of work and progress happen. Think about the athletes, think about the footballers or the basketball players or anybody who has accomplished a lot in their life. The one main theme with their life is that they get into the zone more than me and you. They're in the zone all day long. They're working, they're honing on their craft, and they're practicing over and over again. And whenever they are doing it, they're in the zone. That's the first point. Stop focusing on hacks. Stop listening to other productivity advice. Stop doing these 10-step, 20-step morning routine to get in the zone. So instead of waking up, going to the fucking swimming pool, swimming for 2 hours, taking a cold shower, going to the sauna, just start working. Wake up and start working. That's like the best time to get into a flow state, by the way. Like if you just wake up and within 90 seconds, you're at your work desk and you're working, you're automatically in a flow state, as compared to like noon or 2 p.m. where you have to go through the first phase of flow, which is the resistance. Like you have to go through like that 8-10 minutes of discomfort of you feeling like not doing the thing, and then you enter the flow state for like 90 minutes straight. You just skip that first part in the morning if you just wake up and open your laptop and work. So that's the first point. Enter into the zone. I used to ask myself a question all of the times when I was self-sabotaging. How do I remain consistent? How do I remain consistent with working hard with my good habits? And this was the question that I asked myself for years and I just couldn't figure it out. I couldn't. And I thought it was some psychological thing, like deep problem or traumatic event that happened in my childhood or something that was making me inconsistent. And I kept watching videos about psychology and why I was doing this. Maybe there was some problem with me. But the solution was so simple. It was like right in front of me, but I just couldn't look at it. The solution is to have consistent inputs, the right kind of consistent inputs. That's the point number two. If you have consistent inputs, you will have consistent outputs. Like if you think about your life as a system, and let's say your system has an input, the process, and the outputs, and there's an environment this whole system exists in. So let's say you have worked on the environment and your environment is fine, right? Your inputs should be consistent so you can have consistent outputs. Your input right now is inconsistent. You're going to bed at like 8 p.m. and then the next day it's like 10 p.m. and then the next day it's like 2 a.m. Inconsistent inputs. You're drinking water some days you're not drinking water. Inconsistent inputs. You're going to the gym at like 12 noon. Sometimes you're going at like 8 p.m., sometimes in like 6 a.m. in the morning. Again, inconsistency, like inconsistent inputs, that's what's making your life inconsistent. If you want consistency, you go to bed at the same time, you wake up at the same time, you go to the gym at the same time, you drink the same amount of water, you eat similar kinds of food. Right now, you're eating good food, and then 7 days later, you're ordering food from like freaking KFC. So you can't expect consistent results, consistent outputs on a long scale if your inputs are inconsistent. Stop focusing on the consistent, like, stop focusing on making money, start focusing on working. So that's the second point. Consistent inputs equals to consistent outputs. The third point is to focus on less things. I see so many people, like when I say so many, it's like 98% of people. They focus on like 10 different things at once. They have so many areas of their life they're trying to fix all at once. If you want balance, you get balance through focusing on one thing and being like sacrificing balance for like a certain amount of time, achieving what you wanted with that one thing, and then balancing it out, and then going to the other thing, achieving that by living an imbalanced or unbalanced lifestyle. And then you accomplish that second thing, and then you accomplish more things like that. You focus on 1 to 3 things at a time, and these top 3 things should be in a priority. For example, me, I focus on 3 areas of my life. Number one, it's work. Number two, it's health. And number three, it's relationship. Now I have prioritized these things according to my life. You might have an absolute trash health. So your priority should be health, work, relationships. So these are the 3 areas of my life I focus on. Number one is work. I devote all of my time to work. Number two is health. I devote like the remaining time, like 1 hour a day, to fitness. And number three is my relationships and my family. So I don't have a relationship, but I have like a close knitted circle of friends that I trust, and I have my parents. So like it doesn't take that much time to maintain those things. I have like great relationships with them, so I don't really need to focus on that area of my life yet. So number one, work. I just focus on work all the time, like 12 13 hours a day. Number two, health, 1 hour a day. And number three, relationship, couple times a week. I talk to them daily, but like couple, like 15 minutes 20 minutes a day, right? So if you focus on more than 2 or 3 things, it gets pretty tricky. It gets like you will be mediocre in everything. Like you will be focusing on relationships, you will be mediocre in relationships because your mind is on other things, because you're like mediocre in other things as well. So you're thinking about them and you're not accomplishing anything significant in one area of your life. You're just mediocre in 10 different areas. So take a sheet of paper out, write down areas of your life you want to focus in, and just focus on those things with priority. So number one, number two, number three, and how much time you devote to each of these 3 things. The richest people I've studied, they have less things than us. They have less notifications, they have less apps on their phone, they have less inputs in their life, they have less things to process and handle. They just have one thing, focus, that's it, done. Mike Tyson, he just had boxing. He didn't have own social media like alcohol. He just had boxing. His family wasn't even there. Like his boxing coach was his like father figure. So focus on less things, 1 to 3 things at a time, and that is it. Number 4 is to have routines and system. In point number 2, I talked about, or point number 1, I talked about systems, right? I talked about inputs, I talked about outputs. Create like systems like these with like everything else. Like if you want to get good grades, create a system for achieving good grades. If you want to be working for 8 hours a day, create a system for working 8 hours a day. A system for getting good grades might look like the inputs would be like lecture or school or university or coaching. The processes would involve working for 12 hours a day or implementing certain kinds of scientific learning strategies that are smart and that makes you remember things for a longer time, whatever it might be. And the output is straight A's. And there's a feedback loop going in. Maybe you're not getting straight A's and then you're feeding some feedback back into the inputs. Maybe you're doing something wrong with something. Maybe you're taking too much time on taking notes, whatever it might be. You're feeding it back into the inputs and you're like, okay, let's take lesser notes now. Let's take notes in a different way. And then you feed it back into the loop. And then maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work, maybe something else works, right? So you create a system for the things you want to achieve. If you want an output, a result, a dream result, create a system to get that dream result. It works very well because now you're like, it's not just a machine that's working, it's like a machine that's working and it's improving itself in every iteration. So at every iteration, it's improving itself because of the feedback loop. And it gets better and better and better. So have a system and have a routine to maintain that system in, because routine is very important. Point number 1, I talked about consistent inputs. That's routine. Wake up at the same time, do things at the same time, eat the same kind of food, drink the same amount of water you drink every day. So these are the 4 things that I have done to make 80% of the results in work, in focus, in everything in my life that I care about. And these are not like meditation or like going on a walk or sauna or cold shower. No, those things help, but what it comes down to is just these 4 things. Like these are the top 20% of the things that will bring 80% of the results. Because there are men and women who had it worse than us, who had worse lives than us, and they still did more than us, who had lesser things than us, maybe didn't have gym or sauna, or they didn't know about meditation, but they still achieved the goals. Why? Because they did the most basic things, that is getting in the zone, having a routine, having a system that works, focusing on one thing and having the right kinds of inputs, and that is it, done. That's all they focus on, and that's how they get the results they have in their life. So that's the video. The resolution of the video is, or the summary is, number one, it's to get in the zone, get into a flow state. That's where you make the most amount of progress. It's not in anything else, but in that 90, 60, 45-minute work block of you being present in the zone and focusing on one thing. That's where you make the progress in work. Get in the zone, number one. Have the consistent kinds of inputs. Consistent inputs equal to consistent outputs. Journal about that and figure out what are the inconsistent inputs you're doing right now and what kind of inputs you can have and make like consistent and do them consistently. So that's point number two, consistent inputs. Point number three is to focus on less things. One thing, two thing, three thing max at a time, nothing else, and prioritize them like number one, number two, number three, and allocate them like time according to their priority. Okay, that's number three. Number four is routines and systems. Like stop thinking about what to do next. Have a system, have a routine that it's like almost instinctual. It's like an instinct to work at this time or eat food at that time or go to the gym at this time or dress up for that thing at that time. Like make it an instinct to do those things. And it's very like, it takes a lot of repetition. And how do you get there? By having a routine, by having a system that you follow that works. Okay, so that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it and you got some value out of it. Like, subscribe the channel, and leave some feedback or comment down below, whatever your thoughts are on this video. And if you want me to make any other kind of video on any other thing you're struggling with, you're curious about, then you can just leave a comment down below. And have a good day.